This is Mitch with 1000houses.com podcast. I'm here today with Josh Elledge, and man, are we going to learn a lot about how to influence and become a stronger, bigger presence online. I have to pay homage to my sponsor, livecom.com, Livecomm.com. It's a lead generation platform based around mass texting. You buy phone numbers there for like $2 a month. Every phone number comes with a text capture system. What am I trying to say? Text distribution list. And every time someone calls in to your Livecom phone number from a cell phone, it's captured and put into a text distribution list. There are many, many, many ways to use this tool. And there are many other assets that you'll have to learn about. Go to livecom.com, check out the homepage and see how I use it. I have 24,000 people that will not opt out because they're still looking for an owner-financed home from a guy like me in their town. And so the reason I have 9 days on the market and average 12% down is because I can hit these 24,000 people that want what I offer. I can hit them right between the eyes with a text that almost always gets read for 2 cents a piece. It's an incredible product, and there is much, much more to it than I have just described, as if that wasn't enough. All right, livecom.com, Livecomm.com. All right, I paid the bills, Josh. How are you doing today?
Excellent, excellent. Well, now that we got the bills paid, we can keep the electricity going, and we'll have all the light we need to share everything we're going to share.
That's right. I live on one more day. I get to eat another meal. So tell me, where are you physically sitting right now? What city?
East Orlando. So not on the tourist side. I'm on the expat side. So everyone in East Orlando, at least in my neighborhood, I don't know of anyone who is actually from here. But we all came down for a Disney vacation at some point and decided it'd be fun to live in, the city of Mickey. So here we are.
There you are. So I'm excited for the audience. Listen up here. This guy is, everyone, I always like to help get everyone together, connected by giving a free giveaway so you can learn more about the guest. This guest, Josh Elledge, is given a giveaway that's worth $10,000, and I've checked it out, and I have no doubt that give or take a few bucks, man, he's right in there. So this guy's giving away a super product. I want you to hang around and find out what it is. It's amazing, and I appreciate you doing that, Josh. I mean, I really do.
Yeah. And it's, and for me too, look, I'm doing okay in business. Like one thing we decided, especially this year, with COVID and everything, is like, listen, rising tide lifts all boats. And I know how valuable it was for me, when I was in the earlier stages of business or when I was, just trying to get everything all figured out. One thing, and we'll get into this. So I've been able to get in the media over 2,000 times. I know a lot about that subject, and I know a lot about not having to pay money to some lame PR firm to get that. So I'm happy to teach that now for free.
So you said something very interesting before we started the podcast. You said, you help people get to 7 figures business to business income without spending a dime in advertising, and that you described advertising as the cost you pay for being unspectacular, or what was it?
Yeah. Well, I can't take credit for this line. This is the founder of Geek Squad who said this, but it's advertising is the tax you pay for being unremarkable. So the goal is, how can we become more remarkable in our industry, in our peer groups, to our clients, customers, investors, partners, whoever it is. And I believe, Mitch, that comes down to 3 variables. And those variables are authority. I believe also that part of that is platform. Do you have something that makes it really easy to engage with other people? And then number 3 would be your generosity. And if you have a scarcity mindset that, that the only people you engage with are the people that give you $7 for your dumb tripwire product, and sorry, I don't mean to be too harsh on that. I just think that there's a lot of snake oil salespeople that sell funnel systems, probably good people, but I understand consumer behavior. I've been studying and leading on consumer behavior for 13 and a half years now. And I can tell you that we have been in the midst of the marketing apocalypse. And certainly in 2020, we just fast forwarded it a good couple of years. Consumers don't want to be tricked. Consumers don't want to be sold to. I don't want to be on your email drip campaign. I don't want to get your messenger bot that's trying to sell me stuff. I don't want your AI that's trying to trick me. I'm not going to opt in. I'm probably not going to watch a webinar. But yet, here's the thing, Mitch. I do a lot of business with a lot of great consultants, advisors, service providers. I hire a lot of people. I do a lot of great business with our customers, clients, our audience. So there's a big difference. And that is generally, if you ask most people, where have your best customers come from? Almost everyone will tell you, oh, word of mouth or relationships or so-and-so recommended, or as a happy customer gave me a referral, word of mouth. And that is because the most attractive, in my opinion, especially in B2B, the most attractive people in terms of like doing business together are not really looking to click on ads. So how do we engage with them? Well, we just have to accelerate our rate of networking and do so in a way that is very frictionless and attractive for your dream ideal client.
Yeah. So can you give us a case study? One of your more successful students or the average student, if you will, or they're not students, but your client, you know what I mean? Tell us how it works from kind of the beginning when you met them to what it took and where they evolved to.
Yeah, Sonia Gomez would be a great illustration. So she's someone that has worked really hard. She served her audience. She's in the hemp CBD space, and she's built up she's continued to serve her audience, has a pretty decent audience herself, and she just worked at it. It wasn't overnight. She didn't do any funny, tricky business or whatever. She just really delivered a lot of value and really helping companies that want to get into that market legally, that want to do so without being discriminated against. I don't think she didn't really get into the THC products, but the ones that are okay nationwide. So she does a lot of work in helping them kind of get through the labyrinth of regulations, and especially banking and that sort of thing can be really tricky in that space. Certainly marketing is really tricky in that space. So she has a lot of experience there. And so she's able to help some good people. So we work together, and my job was to help continue to legitimize her and what she does. She's a good, successful businesswoman. She's very, very sharp. And so we were able to help her get a lot of traditional media. And so that was the authority prong of it. Plus, she also has social proof. That's another authority indicator. Then we started working together. She developed this podcast. Now she has a platform. And then finally, what she wants to do in addition to that. So she's got the authority, she's got the platform, and now what we helped develop with her is this generous system for relationship building. And so we worked with her to kind of create this B2B sales system where, what she does is $25,000 masterminds. She's good at what she does. Her clients typically get really great ROI. And so we really helped her with her introductions and her networking. Well, in about 90 days, we were able to get her a really great six-figure income or revenue in about 90 days' time, because she put her authority, platform, and generosity into action. And so then she actually had a client of hers, and she's like, man, that was really awesome. Can you do the same thing for one of my clients? Sure enough, we did that. Same results. This is what works today. If you listen, especially to the person who's listening to us, and you're saying, Josh, who I need to reach out to is a decision maker with an otherwise successful company. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, advertising to attract that person, that might be okay for awareness, but they're really not going to take action on that. What they will take action on is, again, something that's a little bit more relationship based. And so she'd be a great example, I'd say, Mitch, just in terms of like, why and how this works. And I actually have an interview that I did with her, on our website, and that's at 1000houses.com, right? What's the link? 1000houses.com/influence. And so we'll put that link there. You can watch my interview with Sonia. She's pretty transparent about like what she does and how she does it and that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's going to be 1000houses.com/influence. And by the way, you have a giveaway, and it's called the Media Influencer Makeover, where you spend some time with people in their business concept, and you just do a makeover for them, and give them the possibility of getting more free press and more notoriety. Can you explain a little bit about the Media Influencer Makeover that you're offering for free?
Yeah. So, with my other company, which I launched, 13 and a half years ago, Savings Angel, I didn't have any money at the beginning. And so the only thing I could do is reach out to local media. And I thought, well, man, maybe if I could get them talking about me, I could get some free advertising. And that ended up working out really, really well. I was broke at the beginning of Savings Angel. And in fact, I had failed in business 6 times. I launched Savings Angel, started getting really big into like, I just got to be on as many stages as I can, serving audiences, helping them, giving them value. And that ended up, getting us over $6 million in revenue with $0 spent in advertising. So having gotten really good at that, I started teaching that, speaking on it quite a bit, a lot of conferences, social media marketing world, spoke for the Tony Robbins organization's business mastery audience. So Up My Influence is kind of an outgrowth of a lot of the pro bono work that I was doing in our local startup community and kind of on the speaking circuit. And so, up until this year, when COVID hit, we were charging a lot of money for this. And we just decided, this year, listen, we're doing okay. Like business, like we're good. And so we took this big program. We just said, we're just going to allow scholarships for this. And for someone who qualifies, and I'm going to tell you how to qualify. Number one, say that Mitch sent you and we'll let you in for free. But when we just ask for an application, and the application is simply, and by the way, and I'll get into like everything that we give away, but it's really designed to help you become a media influencer. And it's got everything you need, from press kits to social media platforms to growing your social proof to, displaying your authority, how to engage with reporters and influencers and how to get them to really want to work with you. But I was going to say, in the application process, there's a few key questions. We ask, if you're committed to this, and if you say, no, not really, then we're probably not going to accept you. Also, if you say, I think one of the other questions of the application is, are you going to do the work? And if you go, no, not really, then we're probably not going to accept you. So hint, 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 I'm telling you how to get through. I don't do I'm not on the scholarship. I'm not the scholarship person on our team. I let someone else kind of check people out and vet them and stuff. And if you're just trying to do the right thing out there, trying to do good stuff, we want to hook you up. Yeah.
So, and that makes sense, because you're really going to apply yourself, and there's no need for you to apply yourself if someone's not going to be serious about doing it. There's a reason why this thing's valued at 10 grand. And I can see it, because it only takes one door to open where you get on an interview or get a piece in a magazine or a paper to bring you a lot of money, because some of the numbers you can rack up from so-called getting lucky, we're going to change that from getting lucky to like doing it on purpose. So it's a great offer. I want to really thank you again for it. Go to 1000houses.com/influence and sign up for your go ahead and do your interview, and make sure you're committed, and make sure that you are willing to do the work, and maybe they'll give you a scholarship for the Media Influencer Makeover. Okay.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, Mitch, too, this isn't some kind of weird, gotcha type thing where we're going to sell you on all the, like, look, like I said, we're good, because we've put so much work into building this thing. We have low operating costs on that. We've really invested, easily tens and tens of thousands of dollars into developing everything. probably close to $100,000 of building everything. So we're good. Like it's, obviously if you want to hire us, that's completely up to you. We could help you get a little bit more media visibility and help with your sales and that sort of thing, but that's completely optional. My main thing is I want you to discover why you're not being taken seriously in business. And a lot of times it comes down to your authority. You just don't look the part. And it's what I'm talking about sounds pretty superficial. Like, why should I be judged based on my profile image on social media? Sadly, you are. It's all fair game. We live, Mitch, in a swipe left, swipe right world. And you might have the greatest product and or service in the world. You might be the most benevolent, wonderful person out there. But unfortunately, your branding, your presence, your social proof or lack thereof is doing all the communicating for you. So think of it just like internet dating, and how quickly we'll dismiss somebody with a swipe left in a dating app if they don't have a good profile. So my job is just to make sure that from an authority and an influence standpoint, you pass all the tests so that when you do reach out to a journalist or an influencer or a big YouTuber, whoever it is, right? They go, well, who is this? Who is this Mitch Stephen? Oh, the Mitch Stephen, right? And they're impressed with what they see. It doesn't take hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it really just takes some focus. So you just focused effort on doing the right stuff. And you'll find that it's kind of like that scene in that one of the Harry Potter movies when he drinks the lucky juice. Things just work out better for him. I've spoken at I've been to events where I've just been a face in a crowd. And I've also been at events where I've been the featured keynote speaker. I'm going to tell you right now, it is a completely different experience. I've been on both sides of it. And when you're a featured keynote speaker, it's cool. Like people running around, wanting to do business with you, getting in touch with you. You get a lot of business out of that. And I want that experience for everybody else. So my goal is to 10X. The person who's listening to this right now, I would love to put you in a position where you could 10X your authority within your industry. And imagine if you had 10 times the authority that you currently have, what your life would be like. Imagine the inbound opportunities, partnership opportunities, influencers, customers, how your family and friends would treat you, your peers on social media. You might not care about some of this stuff, but it really is how business gets done today.
Yeah. So I want you guys to go to 1000houses.com/influence. Check it out, man. The chance to 10X your authority. And one thing I like about you, Josh, is we have the same philosophy. If you go to 1000houses.com, you can pick up a lot of free stuff. I give away the farm. I've actually been chastised by the other competitors out there, like, man, you're giving the whole thing away. It's like, look, if you can go and get my free stuff and launch a career from it, great. But there's a certain amount of people that understand you're either going to pay the street or pay for your failures because you didn't know and you didn't have anyone to ask, or you're going to pay someone. Yeah. And it's a lot less anxiety to get with someone that goes, okay, I know exactly how to do this. Follow me. And then so you can go 110% and not second guess yourself because you're going with this guy who's already been down this road and he knows, where the mountain lions and the tigers and the snakes are. And he's not going to let you have trouble with that. So I agree with the philosophy. And so you guys, when you go to get your free media influencer makeover kit, don't worry about getting stuck in a bunch of drip campaigns or anything, because we have the same. No,
you won't find it. Like I said, we're good. I don't care if you don't buy anything. Like we're busy. Just happy to be of service.
Yeah. All right, my friend. So you were talking about podcasts. I happened to start my podcast about 400 episodes ago, and wow. I never thought it would last this long. I never thought, I actually started it with no expectations at all. I didn't even know if anyone would ever even tune in, or if I would be interesting to anybody, or if I would be any good at it. I don't know. I just wanted to try my hand at it. Turns out, something. At being an entrepreneur, something I really didn't have certainly any monetary expectation from, it churned out. In fact, there's ways to make money in the podcast and still give away tons of content and be a benefit to people. And so I did this course called Profitable Podcasting. I'm going to include that link over there because a lot of podcasters are podcasting, but they're just not monetizing. And so a lot of people say, well, I do this to give back as content. I really don't want to be sales. I say, well, that's kind of
those are not mutually exclusive. And another thing I got to tell you is that, listen, I'm a married man. It's like, if you're in a relationship and you've got other obligations in life, those other obligations, I'm not referring to my partner as an obligation, by the way. I'm just saying, now I'm speaking more generally about obligations in life. My dear wife and I are going to celebrate 25 years of wedding bliss next month. But those obligations, when it comes down to, do I keep doing this and I'm not getting rewarded for it? Or do those other obligations keep kind of clawing at me? All of a sudden, it gets a lot harder to stick with something that's not as rewarding. Like, you can't make a business justification for it. You may have hopes of starting in podcasting, hopes that it's just naturally going to grow on its own. But the reality is, the average podcast episode out there doesn't get more than a couple hundred listens. I mean, it just doesn't. And so those are the reality. That's the reality of the numbers out there. Now, if you could stick with it and do 400 episodes, yes, you will. You'll get those numbers.
Let's back that up with some facts. Like I'm getting about $17,000 downloads a month. I thought that's nothing. It's in the top 5% of the podcast world. I mean,
yes.
That's how much. Like, if you've ever read the book The Millionaire Next Door, you don't understand that in this United States of America, until they lay out the facts about where you rank, if you make $55,000 a year in America, you're in the top 10% of the world. You wouldn't know that on TV. I thought at 17,000 downloads, I was way down in the pack somewhere. I had no idea it was in the top 10%. Top 5%. It's just the people that are getting the millions and millions of downloads, our imagination goes crazy. They're being divided by 1/1000th of a point at the very top, and they drop off very fast. And then it gets down to the more, to the lesser numbers quickly. And so it doesn't take, and my point is, it doesn't take a lot of shift to jump you way up in the numbers and the percentages. And people like Josh Elledge can help you make some of that shift and get you some extra notoriety and push you maybe into a whole different bracket in a relatively short period of time. I think media and influence and advertising in general takes time. It's not a sprint, right? It's a marathon. You got to be in it for a while and build a momentum, right?
Yeah, that's true. And, and the reality is, Mitch, depending on what it is that you do, you don't really need a gigantic audience to monetize your podcast. And in fact, our podcast, is not enormous. It's a daily show. We don't have a huge audience, but we also have a big social media audience. But between the two, that's all I do for marketing and advertising. And we do quite well. Like, we'll do 7 figures based on only using a podcast as a means to build relationships, do great business, serve the community, be generous, just be a nice person in an industry, but use it to leverage your own authority within that industry. It's amazing. Anybody today, I believe, can become an influencer in about anything. Like, even you could become an influencer in rocket science or brain surgery. All you got to do is just be committed to interviewing rocket scientists and brain surgeons. And all of a sudden, flash forward 6 to 12 months, and you're now an influencer in the space. It might be a baby influencer, but think of it though. How valuable of an audience that is if you really taken an interest in that and you just want to celebrate those who are doing good stuff. It really puts you in a very strong position. So the world doesn't necessarily need more gurus. What the world needs is more generous teachers who can curate and deliver and serve, right? And if you can do that and you want to keep doing that, like, stick with it for quite a while. It's kind of like the YouTube algorithm. YouTube is looking for people that consistently produce content for 4 or more months. If you do that consistently, YouTube starts to reward you. But 4 months seems to be about that magic form, or kind of that magic length of consistency that they consider, okay, you're kind of committed to the platform, so we're going to give you a more discovery. So podcasting is very similar in that regard. You just got to, stick with it. But to your point, Mitch, we were talking about earlier, man, build a business plan into it some way. Like, it's just doing it for your own pleasure. Like I said, it's fun, but it may or may not be fun. If you've been doing this for 3-4 months and you got nothing, no audience that's coming to you and saying you're the best, because it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah. So, I mean, I make between $10,000 and $18,000 a month on this podcast. I didn't plan it, but I'm helping people along the way too. And the fact that I get paid now means I can't walk away from this podcast, is what you're trying to say. I'm not walking away from this podcast because A, I meet a lot of neat people. I get an education myself. B, I'm helping a lot of other people get to where they want to go. Maybe I just have a little piece in that, but I'm helping them connect the dots in their life, because all I really want people to do is learn how to find their own financial freedom so they can become the person they want to be. And they don't have to spend 2,600 hours a year trying to help someone else become their person, And,
Yep.
And then last but not least, when I figured out how to make the profit from it, I said, I want to share that too. So if you're a podcaster out there and you want to know how I did that, I'm not walking away from this podcast anymore, because it'd be like saying, do you want to stop making an extra $150,000 a year for something that's pretty fun? Do you want to stop that, Mitch? No, I'm not going to stop. So a lot of the reasons why I'm going on my 6th or 7th year is because it was profitable, in addition to all the other reasons I started it in the first place. And that's your point, right? So go to 1000houses.com/profit pod, and I start to discuss there and show you how you can make money on your podcast, and not have to be a salesperson. Maybe 3% of the time we talk about something like this, and then we're on with good content again. You know what I mean? Letting people know that there's stuff out there available. If you want to get educated on this, education's never really been free. At some point, you're going to drill down and get to someone to a point where they might want to charge a fee or a consulting fee. But at that point, you should know it's definitely worth it. And at that point, if you're getting the right person, you should see it come right back, because you've done your research. They're right in your wheelhouse. They know exactly what you need to know, and they're just going to shortcut everything for you. Time is money, man. Time is money, and mistakes are money. I like to tell you, when I graduated from La Calle U, Josh. You know what La Calle means in Spanish? The street.
No.
The street.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the most expensive university on the planet. It will take everything you own if you make mistakes, and it'll kick you and spit on you and won't even give you a piece of paper to hang on your wall. So It's a tough university to go through. Let's say this. What would you like to say to those folks out there, maybe before we wrap it up? And again, before we do wrap it up, go to 1000houses.com/influence. Get your media influencer makeover kit. Sign up for the scholarship. If you're committed, you'll probably pass. If you say my name, you might have a better chance of passing. But if you're not committed, don't waste your time. Don't waste their time. Thank you very much. All right, Josh, what would you say to those folks out there who are trying to up their influence?
Yeah. So if you're doing well in business, and you're doing 6 figures or more in business, I actually love to interview you on our podcast. And again, the link, Mitch, that you've shared, 1000houses.com/influence. We've got the direct guest link, so that you could do that. So we'd love to feature you, tell your story. If you could talk about growing and scaling and your experience with that. If you're not yet at that 6-figure level, that's great. You're going to get there eventually. And that would be the free gift on the Media Influencer Makeover. I'd love to be of service in that regard. Help you get to 6 figures, and then we'll get you on the show.
All right, that's it. So I would like to thank everybody out there for stopping by to get you some Josh Elledge. Again, 1000houses.com/influence. Last time I'll say it, promise you. I'd like to say thanks to my sponsor, livecom.com. Check it out. Go watch the video on the homepage and watch how I am personally using Livecom to sell my houses, average 9 days on the market, average 12% down, and why I have 24,000 people that want to hear the next time I have a house come available, and how I can reach them for 2 cents per person, a direct hit. Someone who's already raised their hand, said they're interested in my product, someone who refuses to opt out, and there they are. And we all know how effective text messaging is at this point. It'll probably change, or it may change, but right now, almost everyone checks their text messages. So you have a really good access to your clients and prospects. Livecom.com, LIVECOMM.com. Thank you so much, you guys. Thanks, Josh. I appreciate you. And we'll be talking soon. I'm going to talk to you personally myself about how maybe you can up my influence, huh?
Thanks, Mitch.